Hello,
Hi.
Experience Wisdom here. So tonight we are going to discuss societal norms and pressures.
So we just wanted to touch base on masculinity, femininity, what society thinks of them, and how, it plays a huge role on, relationships, and kind of wanted to touch base a little bit on in the Hispanic culture too, what gender roles and, what's kind of expected in modern society.
We were just kind of discussing like the way we were brought up with our parents and how it kind of like the way our parents gender roles were in our household is different from the norm in Hispanic culture. So the Hispanic friends, seeing them and the parents, they had different roles as a family where the father would go to work, the mother would stay home with the kids, clean, but that was not the case for us in our family. It was quite different. Both my parents cooked together. My dad worked, my mom also worked at times. But my dad did the gardening, and he was the one who planted the flowers out in the garden and grew vegetables, and he helped my mom cook, and he did the dishes and cleaning. So it was different in our household growing up.
I think it was very shared when it came to household things. Whereas Willow would cook and would help clean and would help get us, kind of in line or whatever, the disciplining or whatever. They were pretty much both kind of doing it. They maybe had different styles of parenting, but definitely both kind of instilled their own ways of parenting with us. I think with my grandpa, he was definitely more. He liked to bake. He would. I remember sitting at the breakfast table, and he would quiz us on random things who's the president, who's the number whatever president, and he would quiz us like that. So education in that way, he would kind of do little things like that. Whereas my grandma was more of kind of street sports. I don't know. She was more when you get out into the real world kind of thing, or a hustler. She would do a lot of things to provide for the family. In that sense, so selling tamales or whatever it would be, just to kind of get extra income, or so.
I would say that they both had a good balance of both the feminine and masculine energy, because dad had us planting and did the kind of the nurturing things, but then also I remember seeing him cutting wood outside with an axe, or building stuff with his hands. I think
he was very versatile in that sense. He did everything.
For someone that didn't get past grade school, that was really.
He did know a lot of he had a lot of hobbies, a lot of little things he knew about.
And he was very nurturing too. So he was really in touch with both his feminine and masculine energy.
He wasn't as scared to cry or to see us.
He would cry in front of us, so it was not that let's hold in type of thing where if you cry that looks weak. It wasn't like that in our family. It would be more
probably.
My mom.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just thinking, I was
really
maybe my mom was more. Yeah, I would say my mom embodied a lot of the masculine energy. She was in touch with her feminine side, but mostly it was like she was always in her masculine energy, where she was like,
she was kind of more the disciplinarian, and women would kind of step in once she was like, I can't, they're not listening to me, kind of thing. Then you knew as soon as he would step in, it'd be like, okay, let's kind of like
listen.
because he usually doesn't say anything, and you know, unless my grandma's like, okay, you deal with it.
Yeah. And so like, yeah, and so for those of you that want to know what like exactly is masculine and feminine energy, so we all carry both. It's trying to get a balance of both your masculine and feminine energy. If you are just embodying your masculine energy, that means you're more, it's not good to embody more of the other. It's good to have the balance, because, so for masculine energy, it's like that boss, that leadership, that someone who's fair, who's logical, thinking, all of that. And whereas the feminine energy is more the nurturing, the caring, the emotional. And so it's never good to have more of the another. So like, for instance, when the masculine energy is too much in a person, it's the opposite. So they're likely to be unfair, they're likely to be unemotional, to not be in touch with their feminine side. Whereas like feminine energy, if you have too much of that, then you're overly emotional, where you can't get a grip on your emotions, and you, instead of just letting it out in your time, you are emotionally immature and just, you know, react in situations.
And I think too, that's like the difference about being, not that femininity is being emotional, is being aware of your emotions and knowing how to not control, but to just be aware of like what that actually means, and that you're aware of, you know, what sad, happy, angry, like you're aware of those emotions. And when you're not in your feminine, in the sense of being an emotional, or the negative side of that is having like being so randomly angry, mad, and you're just kind of, so that's in that sense. I wouldn't say like femininity is just being emotional, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's more of like, you know, just nurturing, and just like, what other examples would go along with that? I can't really think of for the feminine. I mean, I guess that's as good as we can really explain it. But just having the good balance of both, so embodying both.
Yeah.
I notice a lot of women are actually embodying a lot of their masculine energy, which is good. It's awesome to be, you know, to go out there and, you know, have a career and be in a leadership role and all that. It's just that sometimes they embody too much of their masculine energy, where that's where the micromanaging and all that is in place, you know. So I think it's amazing to see that women are embodying that masculine energy, but I feel like they're forgetting to also embody the nurture side of that. Like, you know, to be fair, you know, it gets to a point where they're really like, you know, like I say, micromanaging. So they just need to get more in touch with that feminine energy alongside, just to be fair and, you know, and still embody that leadership. What else did
we talked about a little bit about societal pressures and norms, right?
Yes.
So I think you were talking about how difficult it is to be authentically yourself in a society that expects so much of you, or you know, with those societal norms and pressures. Like, what was one of them? It was the marriage thing. That was one of them.
The education system as well. So just I was saying, like, from my experience, we're just gonna have a little guest here again. Oh, but like I was just saying, like for me growing up, what was a lot of pressure for me is, and what was instilled in us as a family unit, not really by our parents, I would say more by, you know, our siblings, is like having that education, which is, it's not, I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's amazing to get that education and stuff, but I felt like it was a lot of pressure for me. I felt like I did it at one point because it's what my siblings wanted, and it's what society wanted. And so
taking a bath right now.
And so like and so like I would say that that would have been more of a pressure for me, but you know, at the same time I thought like the pressure for me was like in the Hispanic culture, it wasn't known around my time for a lot of Hispanics to even graduate high school. And so around the time I was going, that decade, there was more Hispanics coming forward, going to college and embodying that. So I felt like there's pressure in that sense. But yeah, so I would say the education system, and then marriage, so like the societal norm. You know, I remember being a little girl and playing dolls and saying, oh, I can't wait till I'm older and I get to get married and I get to have kids and a big house, and, you know, like kind of like, and, you know, I want a boy and I want a girl and things like that. And so it just reminds me like how that norm is kind of instilled in us even as at a young age, and then my views, of course, have changed on all of that when I started being authentically myself and standing in my power and getting to know who I am, and I realized like that is not what I want, and so like once you embody and get to know yourself on a deep level, you're able to see more about what was instilled in you through society and family and all that, and what is not what you wanted for yourself or want for yourself. So
I think too with like education, it's like we were like first generation to have like a full education, so it was like, all right, you know, it's up to you guys to be educated, go to college, finish college, get a good job, get this. So then, you know, for Latinas, it was very like, okay, we can also do that too. And so yeah, we did go kind of down that road of like being, you know, learning to provide for ourselves by getting educated. And then in marriage, I think too, it's like a lot of Latinas, I guess, for like me, I don't know, I just never fell into that role of like, I'm a wife and now these are my duties. You know, I never fell into that role like my parents would have. It was very equal, and it always was equal. There was times where I'd be outside mowing, getting things done outside, you know, having things like aesthetically done, you know, or whatever it is. And then times where my partner would have been cooking and cleaning and doing laundry and, you know, those kind of things. So it was just whatever needed to be done. It was never a question of like, you're the guy, you're gonna do this. So things are kind of changing, but then at the same time, I'm like so torn between like, what if somebody actually wanted to just stay home and be a mom and do the nurturing and, you know, raise their kids and just wanted to enjoy, you know, not work and just fulfill, like their life is fulfilled by creating a good environment for their kids and helping them learn and grow and all that stuff. So, and I think that's totally fine too if that's what they want to embody.
right.
That more femininity side of that, you know, so.
And it's not to say, oh my gosh, like, it's a bad thing if you want to get married and have kids and have that white picket fence house, or that's not bad at all. It's just, we're just saying, like, sometimes we get into these societal gender roles that it surpasses what that person wants. So, like, what if there are people that are raising their household in a gender role, and they don't want that, and they never wanted that for themselves, then that's kind of what we're saying. Not everybody does want that. And as Adriana said, there are people that do want that do want to be that stay-at-home mom, and and tend to the kids, and, like, well, their partner, whether it's them getting an education and working, that's okay too. It's just, as I got to know myself, because at one point, because of when I was, a parent and I raised children, that's what I did. I embodied the let me, tend to the kids and make dinner and do all that. And so then, as I got to know myself, like I said, on a deeper level, I realized exactly what it was that I wanted. At some point, maybe you change your mind, but whatever it is, just make sure, like, you're being authentic with what you want for yourself,
and that can change too.
That
it
can definitely
be like,
change.
you know what, now I want to go back into the workplace, and the husband or my partner is gonna end up staying home now. That's really fine too. I think it's so different with each family, because too depends on, how many kids you have, what is, like, let's say you do have children who need more attention at home, who need more structure and need somebody there, one-on-one kind of thing. So that it changes with each family. So I think that we're more accepting nowadays, to not judge each family of, like, who stays home and who goes to work. At the same time, societal norms are, like, the guy goes to work and the girl, and then it's also a social norm now that it's like you have to be, like, if you're a woman, you need to be able to do all those things, like, where you should be able to go to work, you should be able to come home and take care of your kids, you should be able to cook and clean and get all that stuff done, and, like, so there's just a lot of different variants.
That could be pressure for, even women nowadays, like, so we're kind of talking about, like, how society is go, 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 go all day, every day, instead of, like, taking that break and just be, we sometimes have a tendency to think we're then lazy if we're not always doing something. Let's always be productive. Let's do this. Let's do that. Sometimes it's okay to just relax and just, like, I mean, obviously every family is different, and there's families that have children, and that's a huge responsibility, and it's hard for them to do that, but it is possible. I've done it. So
and too, what I've learned, it's like rest it shouldn't be an option. It should be
a necessity.
Like, you need to rest.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have those days where you can just, like, come back to yourself, chill, and find, what it is that, because then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I'm doing all this stuff, and then you're like left thinking, oh, who am I, at the end of the day, who am I, what do I even like anymore, what, I'm just doing because I have to, or it's just part of the routine now, and then at the end you're just like, I don't even know who I am anymore. It's like that rest is kind of where you just come back to yourself, whether it's painting, walking, just cooking, and be like, or anything, if that's how you feel, you rest, doing something you enjoy and love. So
yeah, because it's just so easy to get lost in that routine, of every single day, where you're almost like robotic, you know. It's okay if there's a day that you don't clean the house. It's okay if there's a day that you just need to step out because you're gonna scream because the kids are driving you crazy. It's okay, you know, to go out there and find, even if it's just 5 minutes, to put your feet in the grass and just take a deep breath in and out and just be like, ugh, you know. Yeah, I mean, I recommend it.
Right, I think if you find it hard to be, then you need to fit in more rest time into your day.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of, like, society in general, we have a hard time just being. So we need to incorporate more of that rest.
Mhm. So, yeah, is that it? Well, I'm gonna shuffle here, and as I am shuffling, I just want to wish Adriana a happy birthday.
It's your birthday week.
Her birthday is June 18th, Miss Gemini. And I'm gonna have you choose a card.
Angelic Realms, a team effort, charity, validation, and patience.
Ooh, that's a good one for us right now. Patience. Patience with yourself. Rejuvenate. Collect yourself. Just find that time for yourself, because life is busy. Life is crazy. So we appreciate you coming back to see us, and have a great night.
See ya.